Life's too short to drive boring cars. Lexus and Acura are often compared in many ways. They're both premium brands. Acura is upscale of Honda and Lexus is upscale Toyota. They're both very reliable, but the bottom line is which one is more dependable if reliability is your only concern. It's a little more complicated than that. Reliability as well as annual operating costs are also somewhat mutually exclusive. So let's get into the whole conversation so maybe you can go out armed with the info to go buy the right vehicle for you if reliability is your concern. Let's get into it now. So using RepairPal, which is ultimately a collection of repairs across the nation, they talk about costs and overall reliability of each particular model and brand, and that makes it a great objective comparison to see which car is in fact more dependable. And while both brands emphasize the premium luxury side of the industry, they both have somewhat different approaches. Lexus caters to more of a premium fit and finish, and of course the price is commensurate, where Acura focuses a little bit more on value. You don't get quite the level of finishing usually, but there's more of a sporting attitude with most Acura vehicles. And so before we give you a few examples of specific vehicles and the problems that you'll find with them, I want to point out that you can assume based on RepairPal that the average Lexus will visit the repair shop unexpectedly about 0.5 times each year. In other words, probably only 1 in every 2 Lexuses has to see a dealer for unexpected issues. And for an Acura, believe it or not, it's actually 0.4, so it's even slightly less visits to the dealer to get your Acura serviced or repaired accordingly. And because the relatively low cost of maintenance and operations and upkeep and repairs, coupled with the low frequency that you have to visit the dealer, both vehicles, according to RepairPal, get an overall reliability rating of 4 out of 5 stars, making the decision even that much more difficult. Now, Lexus typically has a slightly higher running cost of about $551 per year versus the $501 for the Acura per year, but they're both less than the industry average, well over $600 per year. So clearly, both of these brands are very affordable and economical once you actually own them. So let's look at a few examples, and once we're done with that, I'll give you my summary because I really do believe I have my own personal opinion which brand is slightly more reliable. But let's take a first look at an Acura. How about the Acura Mdx right here? Right there we have the Acura Mdx, beautifully styled. Let's take a quick look first before we talk about the troubles. Look at the great headlights on these beauties and the wonderful wheels. How about those wonderful mirrors with the little strip? Quite slick, and I really love these handles. Very sharp looking, almost majestic. How about the bottom rocker panels? You've got the nice accents there. And all that chrome around there definitely gives it a shot of bling. Quality looking overhang here, nicely finished. The rear finishing looks great. We have LED tail lights here on this wonderful Acura Mdx, and of course, quiet, it's all-wheel drive. What about the exhaust tips, 1 and 2? And nice little chrome trim along the bottom. And how about the sides? Love the contours on the sides. Love this little dip in there. It just gives it some muscularity right there. And this strong looking hood for sure definitely gives this vehicle a sense of prominence. What about the inside? Beautifully finished, high quality interior, almost nicer than some of the modern day BMWs. But what kind of problems are you having with these beautiful MDXs? Well, there's not a lot of issues, although there are cases where they're talking about bad transmissions, sometimes CEL, check engine lights, P0700 series of codes indicates that you might have a bad torque converter. That's one of the key issues, as well as there's rough running conditions in some cases and sometimes occasional stalling. Generally a very reliable vehicle, but there are a few of those problem areas to be aware of, and you better follow up on that with the service department before buying one. But with all of that said, you're still ranked at a 4 out of 5 versus the 3.5 star for the average mid-size luxury SUV. What about the Lexus rival for that Acura Mdx? Right here. We have the Lexus RX 350, very much a staple in the brand for sure. Very popular SUV, high quality finishing, and some would argue even nicer finishing than the Mdx. Beautiful Lexus, although some aren't in love with that grille, that's definitely a take it or leave it kind of factor. Here you've got these wonderful headlights, absolutely mesmerizing. How about these little vents? Beautiful, and little chrome as well as extra little lights on the bottom. Very crisp looking front finishing on this, other than that front grille, which some love, some don't. Then on top you have that wonderful massive glass roof to allow light in for the passengers cruising in this lap of luxury. F-Sport in this particular model. And look at the great finishing on that mirror. That's one of the prettiest mirrors I've seen on a modern day vehicle. How about those wonderful gunmetal gray rims? And I love the contour of the side of these vehicles. Absolutely dressed up really nice. And the back end, look at the aggression on the back of that vehicle. certainly looks very sporty, arguably sportier looking than the Acuras, which coincidentally generally are a sportier design. Then cycling around to the back, love this new design of taillights, and 1 and 2 exhaust tips, and more chrome, just like you saw in the Acura. But this is the RX 350. And with this shelf, you can obviously see its takeaway from the Toyota brand. So what about the interior of this? Very, very clean finishing. Certainly Lexus has stepped their game up to the next level. So what kind of problems have they seen in some Lexus RX 350 models in the last several years? Well, due to the variable valve timing system, there's the occasional burst oil line, which results in a massive oil underneath, of course lower oil pressure and potentially engine failure, but that's rare. More likely you'll just have a slight leaking or a slight oil loss. Either way, got to be fixed, but there was an update for that. Also, there were a problem with the radio system on here, and did you know the RX 350s are very, very easy to steal? And the worst part is there's some thieves that seem to figure that out. There's also sometimes problems with the AC amplifier and other random check engine lights. Overall, rare, relatively affordable to sort out if it happens, and the failure rate is not all that significant, making this Lexus RX 350 very popular, very reliable, and very easy to afford. So what about the cars? How about the IS 350? Let's do a comparison there. They have a few problems. Overall, very, very reliable as well. Beautiful cars, very popular. Look at that great grille. Again, a little oversized, not everybody loves it, but these front marker lights are amazing, and those headlights are beautiful too. How about this gorgeous color? The car certainly does have a presence. Gunmetal gray rims on this wonderful F Sport. How about those great little mirrors? And the interior is high quality as well, as you would expect in a Lexus. But you'll notice a small standard style sunroof and wonderful keyed handles. How about the great little ducktail rear trunk lid here? Absolutely beautiful there. This one's an all-wheel drive, so it's great for the snow and ice conditions. And it's the IS 350, as we already spoke, on the F Sport. Notice 1 tailpipe, 2 tailpipes. Great cars altogether. There's a few problems. One being the radio navigation updates. That's been a problem. There's been random check engine light related issues. Also rear suspension squeaking and noises, air conditioning problems, and there's been even reported cases of the sunroof blowing out. But overall, an affordable car to run and very reliable. And then we could talk about the Acura Tl in comparison. Now, while this one's a little bit older, it still generally applies. Some of the same issues occur from time to time. And I personally had a friend who owned an Acura Tl. He loved it. He put a lot of miles on it. So they're reliable in terms of an engine and drivetrain perspective for the most part. And they do look quite sporty. If you look here, you've got some great rims, interesting headlights, slightly more conservative front grille on the older cars. You've got a sunroof and some great lines up and down the sides of these vehicles. Very sporty, they look sharp. But a few problems. Check engine lights, one big one being rough idling, sometimes difficulty starting, but the big one being automatic transmission failures. That was a common problem with these. Put enough miles on them, almost guaranteed you're going to see an automatic transmission failure with these vehicles. Other than that, they do still get a rating of about 4 out of 5 stars for reliability versus the 3.5 industry standard. Now, generally as a whole, they both have their ups and downs. Acura's had some problems with some oil-burning engines, obviously some automatic transmissions. Lexus had a few misses here as well. The IS 250 with the carbon fouling, they were sort of gutless, and there was problems there as well from time to time. But generally, as a rule, because of the Toyota reliability, my money goes to Lexus if you're looking for outright luxury and reliability. But if you're looking more bang for your buck, the Acura has you covered. And with all of that said, if you want to compare another great premium brand, how about BMW and Lexus? Which one's more reliable? Right there, you're going to love the video. It's going to share all of the details for you today. Hope to catch you on the flip side. See you next time. Bye-bye.